Hi there, and welcome back to Hawthorne Arts. Today, I'm going to go on a bit of a ramble again. This one is going to be directed at both teachers and at art students. And this one is about difficulty of the work that you're given, or the work that you are creating if you're a teacher. One thing that I find that I get a lot from students, especially from those in the lower secondary school years, so year 7s, year 8s, year 9s, is a lot of students saying, "Oh, I can't do it, this is too difficult," or "Oh, sir, this is hard." And I think this is a mentality that I find very unusual, and something that really needs to be dealt with, to be honest. My usual response to that is simply, of course, of course it's hard, of course it's difficult. This is what you come to school for. You come to school to learn, not to do things which are easy. Things which are easy, you've already done. That's fine. But you're here to learn new things, so it will be a struggle at first. And I think that's just one issue with many students today. And maybe it was an issue back when I was a student too, a few decades ago. But students need to be challenged, and they need to find it normal to be challenged. And that's something that we as teachers need to foster within them, and that parents as well need to foster within their children. And this would also be good if students, and this is students of all ages, which we all are really, we're all students until the day that we die. Students really need to foster within themselves and in the people that they spend time with and hang out with. Constantly, you should be challenging yourself day in, day out. Otherwise, life just stagnates and you don't get any better at anything. Life just becomes one big routine where everything's just same day after day after day. There has to be challenge. There has to be something which you have to strive towards. And I think this is an important part of making sure that students understand that learning is fun. You don't always need to be learning simply to pass an exam. Sometimes you're going to be learning to better yourself, learning just for the sake of learning, because information and learning things is just generally a good thing to experience and to have. And there's many ways to do this. I find that as a teacher, always try to inject as much of you as possible into your work, and as much of your students as well, and what's applicable to your students. So if students are interested in a particular video game, right now in 2018, that video game seems to be Fortnite. Students are very interested in that. Inject that in. It's relevant to them, especially in the arts. Video games are art. Loads of artists work to make video games. So why are we not talking about it? And if you don't know much about video games, because maybe you're not part of the generation where video games were very, very popular, or maybe you just never got into it as a child or even now as an adult, then if you really want to engage your students, then you owe it to yourself and to your students to go and look it up. Look up how video games are made. Look up why these video games are so popular. And then you might just win over your students. You might just engage them better. You also need to think of how we differentiate. And this goes for you as well, students. Don't bite off more than you can chew, but at the same time, don't go for the easy thing. And teachers, you need to make sure that you've got a range of tasks sometimes within certain areas. So some things won't need it. They won't need much differentiation, because if you're getting a student to draw an object, say for example a bottle or something like that, they'll draw it to the level that they can. One student might not find it harder than another student, but their end product might be vastly different simply because their skills are different. So the task in itself is self-differentiated. They'll do what they can, and that works. But on the other hand, with certain topics, you'll need a variety. You'll need a variety of things, and differentiation doesn't only work in terms of skill ability and understanding and questioning and things like that. It also works in terms of what you're offering to students. And so sometimes differentiation could just be simple choice. You could have the students all draw one European activist, But why not give them the chance to draw a European activist, an African activist, an Asian activist, a female one, a male one from last century, one from this century? All of that has a profound effect on the students, because all of a sudden they're not just seeing, yeah, here's another person from this place. They're seeing, hey, there's someone who's from a country not far from me. Or, wow, here's someone who's from a place which I didn't even know existed, but they look interesting and that story sounds interesting. And that's another way to engage them and get them saying, okay, I wouldn't usually have gone for this piece, but you know what, let me challenge myself and do it because this interests me. And rather than that, you start to make challenge and accepting difficulty a very normal thing with your students. And that's what we want. That's what we want for learners, for them to find challenge normal, for them to find difficulty normal, and at the same time to find overcoming difficulty something to aim towards. Because without that success at the end, which is why differentiation is important, there has to be some successes. Yes, there has to be failures, but there also has to be successes. Without that success at the end, then learning is not rewarding. So you need to have differentiated work. You need to have relevant work that is applicable to the audience, and you have to make sure that it's challenging enough. And that's for teachers. And as for the students, you guys need to step up and you need to say, you know what, let me try something new. Let me try this even though it's difficult, and I'm going to do my best, make it as good as possible. And at the end, I'm going to be happy with myself and proud of what I've accomplished. And that's what I really wanted to say. Hopefully I'll be able to do a few more of these sort of tips for both teachers and students, and hopefully they'll be of some benefit. Just let me know in the comments your thoughts and views on this. So hopefully you enjoyed listening to my ramble, and if not, hopefully it at least got you thinking about something and thinking about your own teaching and your own learning. And yeah, that's all for now. Until next time.